you hear me? Woo! Well, I'm fired up to be here. So we're here to grow, right? All right. And so you're probably wondering what that box is, right? You're probably saying to yourself, what is she doing there? Well, guess what? That's kind of my secret sauce that we're going to share later. I'm going to make sure that when you leave here, you're going to have some tools to help you grow and get out there and make it happen and lead with confidence as a boss lady. All right? I didn't pick the title, by the way. Tia says, oh, you're doing that. So I wanted to say this to you right now. Promise yourself this, that you're going to play full out. What does full out mean? You are going to be present here. I know we have distractions in life, right? But in the next 44 minutes that we have left together, no distractions. You're right here. Are you good with that? Yeah. Okay, I love that. And I want to say this to you. We have a lot of resources right here, right now. And I'm going to ask you, remember, we decided we're going to play full out because we're going to be interactive here. And the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is if you're sitting next to somebody you know. How many people are sitting next to somebody they know? Oh, a lot of you. Raise your hands. I see you. Okay, so guess what I'm going to ask you to do, because it's not going to help you grow your business, is pick up your stuff and get moving to somebody that you don't know. Okay, first do that. Oh, no, you got to go. If you don't know each other, let's do it. Let's go. Pick your stuff up. There we go. Keep going. You can't sit next to somebody you know. Gotta go. You don't know you? Okay, good. Keep going. Awesome. Love it. Hey, and if you're not sitting next to somebody, sit next to somebody. Move over. Don't be isolating yourself, right? All right. If you're not sitting next to somebody, you need to move too. Okay, here we go. We got that going on. Okay. So now, here's what we're going to do. I want everybody to look to your left and introduce yourself. Oh, wait, you're smelling. I'm kidding. I got you. I told you we're going to have fun up here, right? So we're just going to have, no, this is what you're going to do. You're going to look either side of you, and what I want you to do is introduce yourself to the person that's on both sides of you. We just got 1 minute, so make it quick and have a smile, and let's do it. Let's go. I'm giving you a minute. Okay. Guess what you just did, ladies, and some gentlemen in the room? You've just increased your network. You've met some new people now, right, that you wouldn't have normally met. That's the purpose of that. But I got to tell you, I've sat in rooms like this before, and sometimes I felt like a misfit. And I want to make a confession right now. I was a misfit. I can remember when I was in high school. I was in school, and I had ADD so bad. I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory. And I had ADD so bad, I remember I was doing good in the classes that I liked, right? But the ones that I had some reading to do, I'd go in my room, and I'd read like 2 pages, and I'm like, what did I just read? At that time, they didn't know it was ADD, but I'm like, okay, well, there's something wrong with me. And I remember my parents would get the report cards. And what ended up happening, you know how they have the thing in there like you need improvement, you need to do better. I always got the check marks for talking too much. And guess what? Here I am talking. And then I was thinking it the other day when I was, preparing, that my very first job when I was in corporate America, when I was in high school, was I got a job at a corporate America, thing, and they said, you come work here. And it was for Allstate. And I'm like, what? Because I got to thinking about it. Here I am. It went full circle. And what my job was, I was the ADD person, right? Remember I told you that, confessed that. And my job was to make sure the beneficiaries and the contingents and the life policies were correct. They were having me do that. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I remember when I was going through school, I knew I wasn't going to go to college because it was so hard for me to read. And I thought, I can't do this. But I knew the classes that I liked, I was good at. So I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is when I get out of school, I'm going to go get a job. I'm going to get a job and I'm going to become a VP of sales and marketing. And I'm like, where did that come from, right? And I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to do that? And so I got a job. I talked my way into this job as an administrative assistant. And then I decided, and I'm giving you some clues along the way because I'm going to use some words so you can understand how confidence, the things happen that we're going to be talking about. And I remember I sat there and I said, how am I going to make that happen? I don't have a college degree. I don't have all this stuff. What am I going to do? I'm going to get to work early and I'm going to stay late. And I decided that anything that needed to be done there that nobody wanted to do, Diane would do it. And so what ended up happening, I became the go-to person. Oh, you need it done? Have Diane do it. Oh, have Diane do it. And then all of a sudden, all these other people started knowing who I was, and I was the one that was so, cooperative in doing that, and I started getting promoted. And all of a sudden, things changed for me. I did become a VP of sales of marketing without all the education, without all those degrees, and I passed some men up, sorry, the guys in the room, and yeah, I thought that was fun, right? And here's the thing I want to tell you about that. I did it anyway, and I stumbled, and one day I remember I stopped my car. I literally stopped my car because I said, what is wrong with me? I just didn't know because I wasn't like everybody else. My family, my friends, everybody told me, you've got a great job. And yet I wanted to leave corporate America because I knew I was destined for more. And what ended up happening, one day I went, as everybody laughed at me, I just kept going. And why am I telling you this? Because you got to keep going. If you feel that you are alone, you're not. You can achieve anything and everything you want. And today, if you're wondering who I am, I'm dressed like Rosie the Riveter, and we're going to get to her in just a moment. So here's what we're going to cover today. How to be like Rosie the Riveter. She was the cultural icon that really changed everything for women. And we're going to talk about her in just a moment. And the second thing we're going to cover is how to cultivate confidence with or without a support system. Because I didn't have one, and because everybody thought I was crazy. It's okay. And the last thing we're going to talk about is how to get the fear factor out of your mind once and for all. Anybody want to get rid of that? I know. Me too. That's what I was working on. So before we get into it, I'd like you to think about this. What is the one thing you want to take away from this session? Write it down. I really want you to write it down. And you say, well, I don't know. I just came in here because I just thought it might be good to go into. No, what I want you to do right now, I know you don't know, but if you did know, what would it be? Just write it down real quick. I see some of you writing. Just write it down, because we're going to cover it. And if we don't cover it, I want you to come and see me or some of the other leaders because we're going to help you. And that's how you're going to get help. But you got to know what you came in here for so we can help you get it. Make sense? You guys good? I like interaction, so say good. All right, let's go. All right. So, right now we're traveling back in time. And here we are. Europe's at war. And we don't want to be in the war. The United States said, I'm out of it. You guys go do your thing. We're fine. Nothing's wrong. And guess what happened? The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. And then everything changed.
On December 7th, 1941, Japan, like its infamous Axis partners, struck first and declared war afterwards. Costly to our Navy was the loss of war vessels, airplanes, and equipment, but more costly to Japan was the effectiveness of its foul attack in immediately unifying America in its determination to fight and win the war thrust upon it, and to win the peace that will follow.
And so what happens? All the boys are off to war. And who's left? The women. We're there, and we have to pick up everything. We even had to figure out how to pick up riveters and get out there and make it happen because they're off to war. Who's going to make the stuff to give them the supplies? Who's going to keep the family going? We are. That's what's going to happen. And Rosie was the one that had to figure it out. And she was that cultural icon. She was that call to women. And guess what happened? We had to do it anyway. So imagine this. Play along with me. I want you to imagine now it's that time. You're there. Now they hired you as the marketing agency to get women to what? Step up. To get them to believe, to get them out there to work in the factories. That's what I want you to imagine, that you are that marketing agency. And now what are you going to do? Because this is what women were looking like at that time. What they did is they were out there. They'd probably never worked. Most of them, because guess what happened? They got married, they had kids, they had the white picket fence, they were doing all that, and then all of a sudden they have to answer the call to get out there and do things they've never done before. So let's talk a little bit about what are those qualities that were needed for you to get Rosie, the Rosies of the world, to step up. What do you think they needed to do? Well, I'm going to throw a couple out at you, but I want you to think about it too. So let's have, a little interaction right here. What do you think? I'm going to say she had to be determined, right? Would that be one? What would be another one? Let's call them out. Brave. What else? Organized. Consistent. Creative. Persistent. Resilient. Fearless. What else we got? Grit. Loving. Confidence. Serving heart. Oh, you got it, girl. She's coming up with it. Focus. Okay, so now, I'm sure there's more in this room because you're yelling them out, and I'm so glad that you are, or speaking them out. I shouldn't say yelling them out, but speaking them out. Think about that. How can you apply that to yourself? Think of those words and how you could apply it to you. Rosie stepped up. She had to make it happen. She had no choice. And here she is running everything. Not only is she let's say she's got children, right? So in the morning, she's got to get them up, get them to school. And they didn't have the conveniences we had, do they? Did they? No, they didn't have anything. So she had to make the breakfast. Then she had to get them off to school. She had to go to work in the factory. She had to come back home, pick up her kids, or they're there, and now what is she doing? She's making dinner. What else is she doing? She's helping with schoolwork. She was exhausted. She was exhausted. Maybe that's some of you. You're doing it all, and you have little to no support. Let me ask you this. Let's do an action item run right here. I would like you to write down one of those qualities that you just heard that you feel that you need to get better at. Write that down and come up with one idea of what you can do to change that for yourself. You heard a lot of them, and maybe we didn't say the one that applied to you, but think about where you might be lacking or want to get better. I know I had a list. And let me tell you, I'm always working on myself. And that's what we have to keep doing. We have to keep working on ourselves to get a little bit better every single day. So I want you to think about that and write it down. You guys feel good right there? Did you write it down? Did you come up with an idea? All right, because we're going to do it. Okay. So let's talk about how to cultivate confidence right now. Do you feel that you have the support system that it could be better? You can raise your hand. How many feel that your support system could be better? A lot of hands went up. We're going to address that because that's important to keep going in this business, right? Having that support system. So let's talk a little bit about what would Rosie do? Because she had no choice, remember that. So what she did is she became part of the movement. She sold out. She stepped up. She had no choice. And guess what? All the women were supporting each other. They were tired. They never worked. And most of them never even knew what a riveter was. And now they had to pick it up, right? So I want you to think about this. How many in this room, since we all met some people, right? How many in this room know at least one person now? Raise your hand. All your hands should go up, right? How many in this room know at least 5 people in this room? Hands up. Keep your hands up. Do you know 10? Keep your hands up. 20. 50. Well, if Jane Albright and Gina Hawks were in here, they could do to the 100 because they probably know everybody, most people. Well, I've got to tell you, I was alone. I didn't have anybody that was like me because everybody thought I was crazy, you know? And so maybe you don't have the support that you need, but now you know all these women right in this room. And then when you get into the big alliance room, you're going to have even more support to keep going even when you don't want to. That's the key to success. Keep going even when you don't want to. And the thing I had to learn is to quit quitting. Stop stopping. These are things that I ingrained in my head because remember I said I was alone, and I remember came home from work one day and I walked in the backyard and I'm like, this can't be it. I go into work, I live for the weekends, and then I got to go back and do it again and sit in my assigned seat, right? I'm like, I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. There's got to be more. So I went to sleep that night, and I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't know why, and I couldn't sleep. So at that time, I turned on the TV, and they had infomercials at that time, you know, a lot of them. And they were streaming like at 2 o'clock in the morning, and here's this guy with big teeth, Tony Robbins was up. And if you know who he is, right? And he had this program, and it was an audio program that was like 30 minutes a day for 30 days. I'm like, it's audio. I don't have to read it, so I guess, okay, I'll get it. Because I figured, okay, I'm going to do that. And I couldn't stop. Once that opened my mind so much that I went on and I crewed his events. I knew I had to get better. And then he brought up something that was so inspiring to me, and I hope it makes sense for you. I remember somebody asked Tony, hey, what do you have your degree in? He goes, well, I have a PhD. And I'm like, he doesn't have a college degree. What is he doing? He says, I have a PhD in results. And I said, okay, I'm going to own that. Diane Lampe has a PhD in results. So I'm telling everybody in this room, you can have it too. All right? Let's get it. We'll have the PhD in results club. I like that. Maybe we'll just start that. And then I remember he introduced me to the works of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And all of a sudden I'm reading. And then I realized that if I read 5 pages in the morning and 5 pages at night, I could probably do that now. And all of a sudden I'm realizing I'm reading a book in like 2 weeks. Okay, think about that. If you chunk it down, that's what's going to happen for you. And we've got books all over the place. If you go into the Millionaire Maker Manual, Andy's got a list of books to read, or get with your leader and ask them what to read. Because this has everything to do with your confidence. I promise you. It just does. And then I remember this. If I did not go to that event that Tony Robbins was speaking, and he said that was a big game changer for me. And I want you to know, every time you go to an event, you're in a different spot. And you're gonna get that nugget. You just don't know when or where that could change everything for you. Because people say, oh, I've been to this event. Well, you're at a different spot now. And then you'll be at a different spot because you're growing. And that's why you keep showing up, because that's how you keep growing. And another thing that I do that I think you'll like is I started this many years ago. I don't even know what mentor shared this with me. And it was about 3 questions I would ask myself every night. You might want to write these down because I think it'll help you. First one would be, what did I do right today? Don't beat yourself up of what you didn't do, okay? And so let's relate it to this business. What did I do right? Well, I called people to set appointments. Okay, good. Now the second question would be, what could I have done better? Don't beat yourself up again. Don't do that to yourself. What could I have done better? Well, maybe you said, maybe I should have had a call block time that I was going to keep dialing and I wasn't going to get interrupted and I was going to do it. That's what I could have done better. And then the third thing is, what does tomorrow look like? So what are you going to do tomorrow? And here's why you want to do that every night, because that is so freeing to you. Because you're going to have your day ready in the morning to keep going. And then when you wake up, you're going to go, oh, okay. You're not going to be the one that goes, oh, what should I do today? I don't know. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. It's too late. It's come lunchtime. They're not going to answer the phone. It could be a whole bunch of things. But when you do these 3 questions, it'll change everything for you. And you're going to collapse time frames and get more done than you ever thought before. And working on confidence for me was also to stop the negative self-talk. We all have it, right? And I'm going to show you how to get rid of that in a little bit. But I want to make sure that you know, I put a rubber band around my wrist. One of my mentors said, put a rubber band. Every time you say something bad, your self-talk, snap that thing. I got to tell you, it hurts. And you do get a little blistery, but what that causes is what we call a pattern interrupt. And so what happens is your brain starts equating pain when you say that negative thing. And so when you do it, you need to what? Stop, right? So then I changed my self-talk, and then I had to limit my negative influences. If you want to get better, you're going to have to limit some of those. You know who those people are in your life. I don't have to tell you who they are. You know, right? You don't want to admit it, but you know who they are. So what do we got to do? What I want you to do right now, action item, is write down just one limiting belief that you have and just one idea of what you could do about it. I'm going to give you a minute to do that one. We all have our stories that we tell, right? And I know maybe some of you might want to share them, maybe some of you don't. But what I think might be a good thing here is that, being that you have a new person next to you, is to look at either pick out somebody next to you and just say, what is that one limiting belief that you keep telling yourself, and what are you going to do about it? So I'm going to give you just a minute to just do it. Get to the person. Be bold enough to admit it and talk about it, because once you say it, you're going to feel better, and you're going to do something about it. How about doing something about it? When would now be a good time to do it? Right? Okay, ready, set, go. Tell them, you got to do it. Let's go. Make sure you switch so each person gets to do one. Helping? Got 30 seconds. Keep going. Okay. Oh, okay. We ready to come back? Come on back. Let me ask you a question. How did that feel saying it? Was that freeing? That feel good? Empowering. Now, to make sure you write that down, what you said and what you're going to do about it. Because a lot of times we come to events and we go back home and then we're back to normal life, right? So this weekend, what I want you to do is in your back of your journal, I'm just sharing some things that I do that help me to get me confident along the way, because success leaves clues, right? I learned this from other people. And some stuff I made up myself. I mean, I had a song. Oh, I'm going to tell you something. This is off track, but I'm going to tell you. I had a little song I played to myself, and it was aim high, reach for the sky. Aim low, know where to go. That's what I used to say to myself, and I guess it worked. I'm still on my way. I said, you know what? I need to bring that song back out and think about it. So In the back of my journal, as I'm learning over the weekend, and as you're learning over the weekend, I'm going to write down an idea I got or something I'm going to work on and change. And by the end of the weekend, you'll probably have a list. And what's going to happen is if you don't put it back there, it's going to be jumbled in all your notes. Anybody ever have that happen? And then you go back and go, yeah, I got to read my notes. Where was that? What am I going to do? So what you do is put them all in the back of your journal, and then you're going to pick out the top 10, depending on how many you have. Then you're going to go to the top 5, top 3, and then top 1. The one that you're going to do as soon as you get home, if not tonight or tomorrow or the next night. But take that action item and do it. That's how we get a little bit better every single day. Now, we get to go to my favorite part. I've been waiting for this. Okay, if you notice on the icon here of Rosie, right? Yeah. I started with we can do it. Now you can do it. This is about you, right? And how did Rosie get that fear factor? How can you get the fear factor out of your mind? How does that happen, and how do you get rid of it, right? Rosie was afraid. She was afraid. She didn't know what to do, how to do it. She just pushed through anyway. Remember, she had no conveniences, but what did she do it for? She did it for her family. She did it for her country. She did it for the other women that she was with. They would go into the work every day, and they had to keep each other up. You got this. You can do it. You got this. What about you? Who are you doing it for? Don't do it. Don't be the one that said, I can't do it because, and make that excuse. Do it for them or for yourself, and take the excuses and put them away and never bring them out. I have moments just like everybody else, even now, but I've developed different things that have worked for me. So which brings me to the box, right? There was a box. Let's see. Let's open the box, right? There's nothing in that box, but there soon will be. Nothing's in there, sorry. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I don't know who taught me this or how I learned it or whatever, because when you start reading a lot of books and you learn different things, you forget where it came from. So I'm going to say this. I've done this for years. And what this is, it's a box that you put your distractions in. Every morning, what you're going to do, we're going to do it tonight. So tomorrow morning you have to do it. But a lot of you had distractions coming here, right? People were pulling at you. Oh, don't go. And you were feeling guilty. How many of you felt guilty and came here anyway? A lot of hands, right? So what I want you to do is, if you have a piece of paper, I thought there were going to be no index cards in there. Okay. So normally what I do, and I'm going to tell you what I do, and then we're going to do it together, okay? In here, I would have index cards that every morning when I wake up, your mind already starts going. And you're going, oh, I need to do this, or that person really upset me. Ever have that? And then you think about it all day long, and it sticks with you, and then you're distracted, and you don't get done what you need to get done. Yes. And it steals your day. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going to get where you want to go if you let this distraction steal your time and your day. So in the morning, what I would do is I take my index card, or how many you want to put in there, and I write it in there, the distraction I have. Oh, this person really made me mad. Or this person, or this happened and I don't like it, or whatever it is that you know is going to take time away from you today, you're going to write it in there. I don't want to tell you what it is. You know what it is. It's yours. So what I want you to do right now is think about the distractions that are stealing your time. Because look at this weekend is a great weekend to put those distractions away. So here's what I do know. This helped me. Wherever you are, be there. Okay? And what do I mean? If you're with your family, you're with your family. If you're doing dials, you're doing dials. If you're setting appointments, seeing clients, that's what you're doing. If you're at church, you're at church, right? Wherever you are, be there. You'll have a much fuller life. You will. I promise you. So let's do this. I'm going to give you just 2 minutes, and I want you to write down at least 2 things that are distracting you right now. You know what they are. Oh, she's laughing. She was like, I don't know. She already did it. Okay, think about 2 things. And if you say I don't have anything distracting me, okay, you're kidding yourself. I'm just being, I'm just telling you like it is. You're fooling yourself because you would be where you want to be right now. Right? So write down at least 2 things that are distracting you. Now, so that way you don't have to do it tomorrow morning. It's going to be done for you. Make sense? And you're going to put it in the box. And here's what happens is, after a while, you won't need a box. Because it's a joke in our family. If we say something, we go, oh, yeah, just put it in the box. Because what you're going to do when you put it in the box, you don't take it out of the box until the end of your day. That's the thing I want to tell you. So go ahead and write. I'll tell you when you can take it out. If anybody has anything you want to maybe not. Maybe you don't want to share that. But, okay, so let's do that. Put at least 2 things in, and then what you're going to do every day for the next 30 days, promise yourself this, that you're going to do that faithfully. In the morning, write it in, put it in the box, put it over here, and get on to your day. You're going to get a lot more done. Then when you get back home or whatever, you can take it back out if you want to, but many times you don't even care and you don't want to. It's like, oh, that didn't make any sense. Well, that was silly, and it worked out itself anyway. I wasted all that. Anybody realize fear is false expectations appearing real? And what you focus on, you move toward. And Marcus said it right in the room. You make those things happen yourself. You manifest them. So put them over in the box, put them over the corner, forget about them, forget about it, and bring it back out. You'll thank me later. It does work. Okay. Did you like that part? Because that is a big game changer for me. Because you can't let people upset you or get mad because it just steals your time away. And half the time, 5 years from now, will you even remember that conversation, or will you even remember any of that? No. So let's just not go there. Okay, we did that. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. So what else can you do? That is my question. Because you become more confident as you go along when you're doing these things. Your confidence will grow, and people follow people that know where they're going. And that you become the copy worth duplicating. Because what happens is, I'd ask you this. If you want to grow a team, what if you had a team of you? Some of you are going to go, heck yeah, I want to have a team of me. And some of you go, oh, yeah, okay, let me fix that. Right, so think about that. What if you had a team of you? And then I would ask myself this each day, what if, at the end of the day, you'd ask yourself this, would I hire myself or would I fire myself? Yikes. Did I hurt anybody? Did that one hurt? Uh-oh, I got a hand raise from the gentleman in the room. Oh, yeah, okay, got a couple of them. All right, raise your hand if that one hurt. Okay, got a few, okay. Oh, Lord. All right. Rosie the Riveter really changed it for everybody. I'm not kidding you. And this is actually it appeared in the Saturday Evening Post. Norman Rockwell painted this, and it changed the lives for millions and millions of women. As a matter of fact, it went from, and I can't see it because it's so small on the screen here, but it went from like 12 million, I believe, Thank you. That helped. 12 million in 1940 to 20 million in 1944 because they bought in. They sold out. They said, I'm in all the way. That's what you've got to think about. Be there. Be in. Join the movement. Look, we're having a great time here. We're growing. You hear people in the room and on stage, you're going to hear their stories of what they pushed through. You can do it too. Look, I was a mess. I still am a mess, but I still fight my way through it anyway. And that's where the rewards are. I promise you. This is the real Rosie. Mrs. Mary Doyle Keefe. She actually posed for the painting that Norman did, and it went on to inspire millions and millions of women, and it still does to this day. Let's go back to this before we finish. Remember the one question that we asked in the very beginning? What is the one thing you want to take away from this session? Look back at that. And did you get it? Yes? Yes? Okay, awesome. Because if you have any questions, I'm here. Leaders are here. We're here to help you grow. I mean, I take this seriously. I don't take this lightly coming up here and talking to you because I want you to have the best life that you can. We only get one, right? So let's make sure we go out there and be our best self all the time. You never know what will happen by taking your shot. I know what's going to happen if you don't take your shot. I took my shot. I want you to take your shot and go and grow and do the things that you want to do. So what's next? Well, that's a great question. Here's what I would ask you to think about. Whenever you are in doubt, just ask yourself this: what would Rosie do? Think about it. Remember, she didn't have anything like we have, and she still pushed through anyway. And I want you to remind yourself of that. And as you do your box every day, I promise you, that when I see you guys, I really want to know who really kept up with it. When I'll be here at National Convention, there'll be 90 days, or if you want to text me, let me know I did my box for 30 days. I feel so much better. Because now I don't even use a box, like I said, because I don't need it. In the morning, I wake up and some things are in my mind. I go, oh, that's a box. That goes in the box. That certainly goes in the box. And sometimes you need a bigger box. And it's okay, right? Sometimes we need bigger boxes. It's okay. It's your box. And it really does work. I want to end with this. Thank you for coming. And oh, by the way, I'm Diane Lampe. Let's go do this together.